A young man who cannot feel pain ends up in the most brutal prison in Hong Kong. And what happens to him? There is beyond imagination. This is the story of Ricky O, the story of Ricky. A police bus arrives at a heavily guarded high-security prison. The prisoners are escorted out, handcuffed, and lined up. Among them, a handsome young man named Ricky, sentenced to 10 years for a violent crime. During a search, guards notice something strange. A metal detector goes off. They think he's hiding a weapon, but it turns out the reason is much darker. There are several bullets still lodged in his chest. This is the most secure prison in Hong Kong, a place no one has ever escaped from. Every morning the inmates brush their teeth and follow orders. Among them, there's a group called the Gang of Four, the local prison elite who torment others for fun. One day, a cruel inmate destroys a wooden toy train that an old man named Ma made for his son. Then he breaks the man's nose. When the guards arrive, the bullies lie and say the old man fell by himself. But karma strikes instantly. The cruel inmate trips and impales himself on a shard from that same toy. Ricky is the one who set him up. When the thugs try to attack him, one look into Ricky's wild eyes makes them back off. Later, while prisoners are playing basketball, one of the bullies sends a fighter nicknamed Mad Dragon to deal with Ricky. Dragon is a huge bald man with a deranged grin. Meanwhile, Old Man Ma learns he's been denied parole and takes his own life out of despair. When guards discover his body, Ricky silently steps out of his cell, removes Ma's handcuffs, and places the broken toy train into his hands. Then, consumed by rage, he unleashes his fury on invisible enemies. When he showers, Mad Dragon and the bully ambush him. Dragon sends Ricky flying into a wall with a single blow. But Ricky rises, punches Dragon so hard he collapses, and quickly defeats the rest. A tattooed man named Oscar, one of the Gang of Four, appears. He wants revenge for the humiliation. Ricky is thrown into solitary confinement. Even in pain, he meditates and recalls his past. In his memory, we see Uncle Ghost, a mysterious martial arts master who once trained him in a graveyard. He taught Ricky not only to fight, but to turn his body into an unbreakable shield, to endure any pain, no matter how strong. Back in the present, Ricky is summoned by the assistant warden, a sadistic man with a metal hand fitted with hooks, which he uses as a fork. He reads Ricky's file and shows him a letter. Inside is a photo of a young woman, Ying, Ricky's lost love. When Ricky reaches for it, the warden attacks. But Ricky endures every hit silently, his eyes fixed on the photo. In flashbacks, we see Ricky and Ying together, flying a small remote-controlled plane. That's when he confessed his love to her. Soon, the assistant warden orders Oscar to kill Ricky. Their duel takes place in the prison yard, a fierce fight between two masters. Oscar fights dirty, using knives and tear gas, but Ricky outsmarts him, uses the sewers to regain his vision, and wins. Enraged, the warden calls in 3 elite fighters from other blocks. Ricky later meets Alan, Oscar's mute godson, and teaches him to play instruments. The boy smiles for the first time in years. But the Gang of Four forces Alan to attack Ricky. When he refuses, they kill him. Ricky swears vengeance. He soon discovers a dark secret. The prison is growing opium in the cells. Ricky sets it all on fire. That's when the 3 elite fighters attack him at once. He's badly wounded but remembers his training and fights through the pain. Guards pour wet cement into his cell, burying him alive. When it hardens, Ricky bursts out of it using only his muscles. The warden finally returns, a businessman who uses prisoners as slave labor. He's accompanied by his spoiled, cruel son, a chubby boy in a ridiculous outfit, who constantly cries and hurts others for fun. When the warden learns the opium is gone, he nearly has a heart attack. Ricky, still covered in cement, confronts him, but faces another of the elite fighters, Tarzan. After a brutal fight, Ricky wins. The warden drops the ceiling of Ricky's cell on him and then uses an electric shocker. Ricky collapses, but he survives thanks to Tarzan's sacrifice. Turns out the man wasn't completely evil. Even so, the warden captures Ricky again and buries him alive, this time up to his neck. At night, the Gang of Four cuts off his air supply, trying to suffocate him. Ricky remembers Ying, how she once witnessed a murder, was chased by gangsters, and fell from a rooftop to her death. He was heartbroken and swore revenge. He hunted down the gang responsible and killed their leader. From that day on, he vowed to destroy every trace of evil he encountered. When a bulldozer digs him up, Ricky appears lifeless at first, but suddenly he opens his eyes. He's still alive. He breaks free again, his willpower stronger than steel. The remaining fighters try to torture him, but Ricky endures everything without a sound. At night, one kind prisoner sneaks food to him, and Ricky eats it like a starving dog, still chained and covered in scars. But the next day, that kind man is punished severely. That's when Ricky's fury finally explodes. He breaks his chains, shatters his cell door, and charges into the courtyard. When Ricky appears, chaos erupts across the prison. Other inmates see his courage and rise up too. They start a full-scale rebellion. Guards rush in with shields and batons, but the prisoners fight back, and Ricky leads them like an unstoppable force. Meanwhile, the warden sits in his office, calmly studying the prison's menu and ordering smaller food portions for everyone, as if nothing is happening. But suddenly the door bursts open. Ricky storms in. The warden's spoiled son screams and hides. The warden grabs a gun, but before he can shoot, Ricky knocks the weapon aside. The remaining members of the Gang of Four rush in, and we see another spectacular bloody fight. Ricky faces them all at once, dodging blades, blocking chains, and smashing through walls with his fists. One by one, his enemies fall, until only the warden is left. But the warden is not what he seems. Before Ricky's eyes, his body begins to twist and expand. His muscles bulge. His face transforms into a hideous snarl. He becomes a giant monster, something between an ogre and a troll. A monstrous battle begins. The warden hurls Ricky across the room, smashes through concrete, and roars like an animal. But Ricky refuses to fall. He stands, bloodied but unbroken, and strikes back with all his power. Finally, Ricky lifts the creature high above his head and throws him into a giant meat grinder. The machine whirs, and the monster is torn apart. As the gears grind, Ricky looks at the horrified guards and says nothing. Outside, chaos reigns. The prisoners are free, the prison walls trembling. Ricky walks to the courtyard, raises his fist, and with one final blow, punches straight through the massive concrete wall. The wall crumbles to dust. A bright light breaks through. The way to freedom is open. Ricky walks out, covered in blood and dust, but free at last.